Welcome to The Third Side with your host, John and Stacey Edwards from ThirdSideParanormal.com. Hello and welcome to The Third Side. My name is John Edwards and I'm joined as always by my lovely wife Stacey.
Hello.
We got a whole lot of red going on today, don't we?
We do.
I'm seeing that right now.
I wore red and I had no idea what it was going to look like when we got here.
Yeah, I mean, what happens? It's like the magical little, it's like the underwear gnomes. They just come in and just
come in and change everything.
I have to say, I definitely dig it this week.
I like it this week,
yes. It's very cool.
They're creepy.
Has our bust of our grandparents.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool.
Very strange.
Anyway, at 3SidePara on Twitter, ThirdSideParanormal.com is your web address, and on Facebook it's
Facebook.com/ThirdSide.
Oh, you're very good.
I know what it is.
You didn't even have any prompting on that. I'm very happy with that. Today we have a spectacular show full of goodies and holiday festivious stuff.
No, we don't. We have tidbits and news. Do we have goodies and holiday festivities stuff?
Well, I thought the tidbits and news would be good, like festivious type stuff.
Okay, is fastivious a word?
Fastivious.
Are we making up words again?
No, fastivious is definitely a word in some country somewhere. I promise you that.
Fastivious.
But as far as fastiviouses go, today's news is going to be awesome. So go tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell your lover.
Tell your dog.
And especially your dog that it's now time for some paranormal news.
It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact.
Okay, time for some news. So, I'm not going to shuffle my papers around today. I'm just going to go in order from whatever I've got listed on here.
All right.
So, the first story I have here is one you're just going to love. You love these stories.
Oh, God.
It's not a clown, don't worry. I wish it was a clown.
I figured it was going to be a hermaphrodite clown that died and was in a bag and they came back to life.
Well, you're partly right. You're partly right.
Hermaphrodite?
No.
Oh.
This is about a woman, a Polish woman.
Oh, a Pole.
Polish woman who was...
What was so funny about that?
I don't know.
Is that not like the politically correct way to say it?
I have no idea. It was just funny. I don't know. Anyway, she was declared dead, but she woke up in the mortuary.
Oh, my God.
In the bag. Like the other one that we talked
What
about.
the hell?
I don't know. Let me explain how this would happen.
No. I'm not crazy. Every single bloody week.
Can you say bloody? It's not a curse word.
I can say bloody. I can say, what do you think they say bloody so much?
Just kidding.
Because they can bloody well get away with it.
Anyway. Let me finish.
You know what else they get away with on British TV?
What's that?
Showing your boobs.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
So
we're not on British TV.
All right. Well,
okay.
we are.
So anyway, this woman was 91, and her niece went to go check on her and found that she did not seem to be breathing. She didn't have a pulse. They called the doctor.
Okay.
Doctor came in, checked her. He examined her.
Why did I just hear monkeys jumping on the bed?
Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said that he declared that she was dead.
Your grandmother is definitely dead.
Wrote out her death certificate, and then they, took her to the mortuary where they were planning her funeral. So she was there for 11 hours in the cold room or whatever, in the body bag, when the body bag started to move, and the people at the staff at the mortuary were it says they were astonished. I'm sure they were messing in their pants is what they were doing.
Look, you know what?
The bag.
You know what? Listen. sometimes I get out of hand. Sometimes my emotions carry over.
Sometimes.
And I get fired up about a certain subject. I know that I've said things that are, sensitive in the past. Mm-hmm. Folks, let me just say, if the body bag starts moving, I've heard people say they're going to hit it with a shovel. I've heard people say that they're going to hit it several times with a shovel. All you got to do is open this little lever, hit a button, pick it up before it unzips it itself, and whoosh, I'm pretty sure that you can't be charged with killing a dead person. And I want to apologize to all those of you who have risen from the dead recently. I understand how this may come off to you.
I understand there are quite a few of you.
But when the zombie apocalypse does happen, I'm not going to be the one on there. And you know what? I fight for everybody's rights.
Right.
I mean, I'm on every picket line you can find. I'm hugging every tree you can see. You know what? Not the dead, man. Not the recently deceased that have come back to life. Ain't going to happen. They're coming for you, Barbara. Look, there's one of them now. No. You know what, Barbara? Get your damn high heels, get in the car. I'm getting my gasoline, I'm getting my matches. We're going to kill us some damn zombies. No.
Well, anyway, I thought this story was interesting because most of the time when we have these stories, the people wake up and then they die again. But this one that says that she went home and she was eating soup and pancakes and she was just fine. She was not dead.
Brain soup.
And the doctor was absolutely astonished because he was sure she was dead. So.
Oh, Poland.
I don't know. It's very strange, very strange. All I picture when I read these stories is that body bag moving and the people that work there. I mean, why would you unzip it? That's why horror movies are so believable.
Yeah.
People do dumb stuff like that.
Because there's morons.
Really.
There are morons out there who just think, oh, it's going to be okay.
Right.
He's not really a psychopathic killer. He's just got a chainsaw running at us while we're at camp, half naked, after recently having sex. We're not going to die.
Yeah, you're going to die.
It's always the ones that recently have
Oh,
sex,
it's the
isn't
ones
it?
that get lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plain Jane over there in cabin C. No.
With the glasses and the zits. Yeah.
It's her and her flute all night. She's going to live.
She's gonna live.
She's going to be fine.
That's probably the best ad for abstinence I've ever heard.
Yeah.
You're not going to die.
You're not going to
in
die.
The horror movie.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's move on.
Okay, let's.
Okay, so here's a story from New York. This is just kind of an odd story. I thought you'd find it funny. It's kind of a Bigfoot story.
The New York Bigfoot? Like Bigfoot in New York?
Yeah, something like that.
Isn't that like Arnold Schwarzenegger's first film? No, that was Hercules in New York. Never mind. 1972. About the same time he did those terrible nude shots on the beach. Can't ever get over that.
I know nothing of any of these things you're talking about.
Me either.
Anyway. Okay, so this is about a man that obviously has this affinity for Bigfoot, really believes in Bigfoot, thinks that he's definitely for real. His name is Peter Weimer. And he actually lives on Chautauqua Lake, and he owns some cottages there.
Okay.
They're called We-Want-You cottages. Just
Continue.
let that soak in.
Just continue.
So anyway,
continue.
so there's been a lot of Bigfoot sightings there, and he decided that he was going to go in front of his local government and ask, at those public meetings where people can come and ask for certain things.
Right.
And he asked that they put Bigfoot on the endangered species list.
So it was like the local town
in New York.
council.
Yeah.
So it was like, next business for the night, it's going to be a Peter from We Want You. Hey, who let those kids do this? Is this the IP Freely stuff again? No, come on. We Want You cottages.
That's what they're called.
That's where we're having our next honeymoon.
It's written like all Chinese looking, so you can't.
Of course
so it's
it
not
is.
like blatant.
Like,
Anyway,
yeah.
so he actually went up and made a whole speech and
Like Who
talked
Flung
about
Poo?
yeah, exactly. If we have another kid,
Who Flung Poo?
yeah, that's what we're gonna name it.
That's terrible.
Anyway,
That's so insensitive. Stereotypist.
he explained that there's been over 100 sightings of Bigfoot in that area
Right.
a lot recently, and that he thought that they should err on the side of caution and just put him on the endangered species list so people can't come up there and hunt him or shoot him or whatever.
I'm all for it.
So I thought that was pretty funny. The only thing to this article,
I think we should try hunting Bigfoot as hard as possible, and that way everybody who's faking it, don't worry about drawing quarter in them.
well, the only thing I thought that was really funny about this is about the time that he did this particular thing, and they wrote about it and did articles on him and stuff, was also about the time that his expo, the Chautauqua Lake Bigfoot Expo, that he runs and started,
Right.
was getting ready to happen.
Oh yeah, it couldn't be a coincidence.
No, I think that was just an accident. Like, I don't think he was trying to get
No, I
free
don't even know
publicity
what you're alluding to.
or anything. Yeah.
Because we at the Third Side have a strict policy of never pointing fingers at people and saying that you could possibly be, trying to hoax somebody,
Right,
trying
right.
to pull one over, trying to just get fame, and we would never say that.
No,
Never. That's not what this guy was doing.
So anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah. So I don't think that they took him seriously.
right. Okay.
Yeah, and so.
All right.
All right, so let's move on. So let's talk about the mysterious booms
Yes.
over England.
They're happening again.
Yes. Well,
Not
these,
that they ever stopped, but this time it's getting crazy.
well, these are specific ones, and these were really interesting because it was booms that happened that were heard in England, but they were also heard in New York at
Yeah.
the exact same time.
That is crazy.
So it's a huge mystery. Nobody knows what these actually were.
Well, I mean, from the time that, and I know that there was booms in ancient history and, all this crap, but over the last 3-4 years, I think actually about late 2010, early 2011 is when it really started up.
Right,
That's when the
right. mysterious
booms really started. It didn't really pick up attention until people started putting these collections of all the videos on YouTube.
Right.
Because there was stuff all over the world of different people that had heard different things on the mysterious booms. And then when somebody was smart enough to be like, hey, I'm interested in this, and put a collection of 5 different videos of
Right.
people that don't know each other, all hearing something similar. I mean,
in different parts.
some are like, horns, and some are rumbling.
Some are hums.
Hums and just
Weird
crazy
things.
crap. And you can find this if you just search it on the internet. Nobody really knows. Like me personally, I think it's coming from underground. I think they're coming to take it back. Yeah, I mean, just saying. But
Yeah.
or the elaborate government tunnels, whatever.
Right.
But a lot of people say it's coming from the sky. But you know what? The cool thing is, scientists themselves, the most stuck-up scientists in the world, can't come up with some crap explanation. They can't say, well, it's weather phenomenon 9949b.
Right. Well, like you said, this started happening back when we were doing our other show, when we were doing
Right.
Haunted South. And the way that we kind of figured it out was, we would do the news.
Right.
And I would find a story. And it seemed like every week, I would find a story, and then I always try to look for updates
Right.
for some of the stories that we reported on. And whenever I would try to find an update for one we reported on, I would find a different one from a different thing. And it got to a point where I just stopped getting them every week because it was every single week
Right.
somebody had another mysterious boom story.
Right, and the funny thing is, there was what they think was some hoaxing
Right.
at first.
Right.
But then there's the videos. Then there's the videos of people
Yeah,
actually
where they're like,
experiencing
here,
something.
you can hear this.
And it's crazy, and we don't really know what it is to this very day, which is,
Right.
and also pokes to the level that the government probably knows about it.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
probably knows what it is, because if you ran a country, let's just say
If.
and all of a sudden there was this minimum threat, even a minimum threat, and you're a superpower, okay? You're going to find out what the hell that is.
Well, yeah,
You're
going
going to find out if that's a Russian,
I mean, unless you already know what it is.
experimental jet, unless you already know what it is.
Yeah, then you're just
So
going
they say they don't know what it is. They know what it is.
Probably. Well, there's a lot of theories going around about these particular booms, and these have actually been reported on a lot because it's unusual for them to be heard.
Here.
We heard them. It's unusual for them to be heard over such a great distance. And some of the theories coming from these is, I think the latest one was they think it's that spy plane. Somebody said that, they were flying that spy plane that goes 6 times the speed of sound or
Yeah,
whatever.
they haven't been flying it,
and it was-
incessantly for 3 years. So.
Right. But they're saying that these particular ones, I think they call it the Aurora.
The Aurora, yeah.
Right, and
very
it's some
cool.
kind of top secret
looks
project
like
that's
a
been,
Star Trek thing.
reported on, and supposedly that was probably the cause. But then also some news things have tried to attribute it to firework displays, which are ridiculous because you don't hear fireworks over oceans and things. But now in New York, I think the officials in New York first tried to say that there was an earthquake, because there was an earthquake really close to the time that you heard the booms. It's a really small one, like a 1.5.
In Buffalo.
Yeah. And
A lot of crazy crap in Buffalo.
so supposedly the boom was reported in New York about 4:30, and then the earthquake was reported about 2 hours
Right.
later. So now I don't know if that's something that happens.
To me, it sounds like,
It sounds like they're just trying to fit something into
Right.
to make
Yeah.
it fit. So, but I think it's still a mystery. I think they don't know what it is, or
It
they
is a
do know what it
mystery.
is, and they're just not
They
telling us.
know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have these governments at this level that, ask anybody who's been up in the military, like
Right.
higher up in the military. Ask them if there's something that could be happening like that our government wouldn't give a crap about, that they wouldn't know about.
Oh yeah.
No, it's
That
not going
doesn't
to
happen.
happen.
Yeah.
It's just, this is another case of the fact that if you want news, you're going to have to go, sorry folks.
Yeah, you have to dig for it,
Yeah.
and look for it. So I thought that was really interesting. I'm going to keep trying to see if they ever come up with any other
Yeah, good luck with that.
explanations,
Yeah,
or
I'll
if
be
they,
looking forward to that.
or if it just kind of goes to the wayside, kind of
Really?
like everything else that supposedly happens and is going to kill us, but then you don't hear about it later on.
Yeah, it
You
just
know,
goes away.
That happens. Just magically.
And we're okay with it as long as we can watch tonight's episode of Idol.
Isn't it terrible when you realize that? When you realize that all these things were being talked about on the news, all these terrible things.
It's called waking up.
And then all of a sudden, they don't
hopefully-
need you to be distracted anymore, so you
hopefully
don't hear about it.
with paranormal, ufology, conspiracy, all this crap, hopefully there's a lot of people out there that's not drinking the Kool-Aid quite as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And, the 2012, everybody was like, oh, hey, nothing happened. I think it did. I beg to differ. We did a show before 2012, and, every week. And we noticed, leading up to that, and what happened after that, it seems like there's been more of an acceptance of certain areas in the fields, certain paranormal, certain ufology, certain, hell, we talked about the Giant Show today. We talked about,
on the History Channel.
yeah, we talked
not
about
on
that
some
stuff.
Stupid little
It's
channel.
more. There's more acceptance today on all this stuff, and look at the strides in gay marriage and equality, and how not to get all political, but think about what's changed since 2012. And I seen a legislation up the other day for Virginia to legalize marijuana. That's like
that'd be nice.
that's like your grandmother coming downstairs and saying, "Hey, you want to smoke a bowl with me?" It's Bible Belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's there. 2012, I think, was an awakening. I think at the
think so.
very least, it was an awakening.
I think so.
And the government always knows. They always know.
So the moral to the story is the government always knows.
The government always knows.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
Let's.
Okay.
Okay.
So this next story is actually about a really cool art exhibit that I wish I could go see, but I saw the pictures.
I love art exhibits.
Yes, well, this one is definitely one that you would want to see. It's so cool. This is at a church in a Czech village. It's called Lukova.
I already want to see it.
And the name of the church is St. George's. And the locals there call it a cursed church.
Ooh.
And it's
Ooh,
actually...
you've piqued my interest with a Q.
Yes, I know. So this is a really old church that they had actually been using. But one day, I think it was back in 1968.
Well, they're not using it because it's cursed, correct?
Right, they were using it.
Oh.
It was the church. And in 1968, they were having a funeral service there. And during the funeral service, part of the roof collapsed.
It's a curse.
And so all of the people took that as a really bad sign.
You think?
Like, oh, this is not good.
Right.
And so they abandoned the church and
Sort of
they
the
stopped
opposite of
using
good.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they stopped using the church and they say that it's cursed.
Yeah.
So the church has been sitting there for about 30 years. It's fallen into ruins. And
As churches do when demons take over.
right, but it's a beautiful church. It's terrible that it's just sitting there. So this artist, let's see,
Leave it to an artist.
I think it's Jacob Hadrava, I think is how
Is it?
it's pronounced. But he is managing to draw in visitors from all over the world with this
He's
art.
drawing visitors from all over the world.
No, drawing in visitors.
I thought, what a nice artist.
bringing visitors to the church.
Okay.
Because of this art exhibit he put up where he has put ghosts in the church. It sounds weird, but
Like real ghosts? Like
no, like
Koto the exhibit.
statues
Oh.
of people draped in like sheets and things.
So he's made it look like there's ghosts all over the church, and it's a cursed church.
sitting in the pews, in the aisles.
In the
it's a
Czech Republic.
three-dimensional like
It is
thing.
the Czech Republic, right?
Yes.
That's that is flipping awesome, folks.
It's actually
That is cool.
really, it's actually really
That is
beautiful.
cool.
And he actually said that he wanted to install, they're all sculptures, he wanted to install the sculptures on the benches to remind the people that the church had a history and that it did have a past. And it's actually bringing in tourists, and they are actually
yeah.
donating money to help restore the church.
Yeah.
Which is what he wanted to do. But there are pictures, and hopefully, I'm sure Justin's putting some up, but it's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you wouldn't think, it's like a bunch of sculptures of people that look
So
like they're
and this
draped
is in the
sheets.
Czech Republic.
Yes.
Well done, Czech Republic. Well done.
But it's actually very, very awesome looking. I looked at the pictures for a while, and it was really cool. So definitely something
it's
that
the greatest thing
everybody
I've
needs
ever
to
heard.
check out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
So I'll put a link up for that
Okay.
so everybody can see the pictures, but they're really, really cool. Okay, so I just want to mention this story. This one's kind of funny. Well, it's not funny for the woman that happened to, but this is just a little blip that I saw go by. Talking about the booms and things, another thing that we've seen a rise in is sinkholes
Dude,
all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And they say, oh, the weather's changing.
like I'm worried
and-
now.
Yeah, we should be worried. We're over all kinds of caverns. and
Sinkholes are
stuff.
just like the booms. Don't act like they're a passing fancy.
No, I know.
There's something wrong.
But I'm saying that they try to.
It just
explain
don't
away.
happen. You know what? I'm not very old, but all the years I lived up until like 2 years ago, ground didn't collapse out from underneath you.
No matter how
Okay?
bad the weather
It
was?
didn't just happen. You didn't have like, oh hey, the bedroom, there's guys eating spaghetti and stuff, and it's just like, oh, Freddie's gone. Another damn sinkhole. Like it's a minor irritation.
What a shame.
Like it's a minor irritation. It's not. You know what? It's full-blown AIDS. It's not some kind of thing that's going to burn off in 3 days with penicillin. The ground is eating people. All right?
Well, on that note,
I'm just saying.
okay. Well, in Australia,
The sky's making noise. The ground's collapsing.
well, this is in Australia, and
Cats, dogs, up is down, black is white. I don't know what's going on anymore.
What's that from? That's from a movie, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Okay, anyway, so this happened in Australia, and Australia, should they be having sinkholes?
No.
Is it an island?
Shouldn't the ground come up there?
No, I don't think so.
Like you should be just walking along and all of a sudden it's like a reverse sinkhole. Just,
Anyway, there's
Sorry.
a sinkhole somewhere here, and it's anyway.
Yeah.
So there's a woman was outside hanging her laundry to dry, and a sinkhole opened up
Jesus
underneath her,
Christ.
and she just fell right in 10 feet into some water.
So if Australia wasn't dangerous enough, like she didn't just fall 10 feet into water, she fell 10 feet into saber-toothed bunnies.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Into snakes.
But-
it was like Indiana Jones, I'm sure of it.
They did rescue her. She was uninjured, except probably terrified because she was
Traumatized?
just standing in her yard and then just fell in a freaking hole.
Yeah.
So I thought that's like the most interesting sinkhole story I've seen. Like she's just.
You totally said stinkhole.
I said sinkhole.
It's not the most interesting stinkhole story
I
I've
said
seen.
sinkhole.
Oh, okay.
I think
I'm pretty sure you said stinkhole.
we're rewinding right now to
It was
see,
like
aren't we?
it was like a Freudian slip
Anyway,
or a
it
Freudian
might have been a
shit.
stinky hole. You don't know.
All right.
But anyway, I thought that
Sorry
was,
about all the cursing that had to be bleeped out about 4 years. I just get really fired up about things.
Right. I thought that was really interesting about the sinkhole. Though, since we talked about the booms, I thought we'd mention the sinkhole thing
Yes,
too.
thank you.
Yes. Okay. So here's the story that I just want to touch on because I saw it shared a lot, and every time you see a story that people are passing around a lot, I can't talk tonight. I know. You like to, especially if you think that it's a fake, you like to get that out there. Now, I don't know if this story is a fake, but it is odd. So this is a story that I saw where supposedly a mystery animal washed up on a Russian shore. And it supposedly was big and looked like it had skin and fur, and this teeth.
Might have been
and
somebody's
this-
Russian uncle.
This weird, and they had all these pictures of it, and according
Oh,
to the
that's
story,
Dmitri.
well, wait, according to the story, Russian special forces removed it and said that it was unknown and that they were going to do in-depth study on it. And it turns out the story that I read was supposedly an update where it turned out it was a beluga whale,
Yeah.
kind of caught in a net.
Right.
So it wasn't anything unusual.
I'm sorry, all I'm seeing is Putin on the Ritz. That picture. That's all I could see right now is Putin on a Ritz cracker.
Okay, so anyway, here's the weird part
Sorry,
about
Russia.
this story, okay?
I'm sorry.
I was looking at this story, and this exact same story with the same pictures and the same everything was reported in 2006.
Really?
Yeah, in August of 2006. Same story, same pictures, only they didn't say what it was. They just said it was like, this first story was like, this is an unusual thing. We have no idea what it is. The Russian soldiers took it away for further study. And then they never revealed that it was a beluga whale
Yeah, you
skeleton.
always got to do your homework.
So then they have a story again now where they have the update. Oh, it's a whale skull. We figured it out, blah, blah, blah. But that was like, how long ago was that? 2006?
It is Russia.
8 years ago.
I mean, there's certain parts that are on dial-up.
I guess
I mean,
so.
they might have been trying to give that out to you since 2007.
But so I just wanted to point out for anybody that's sharing
Hurry,
this story,
comrade.
this is
Hurry.
not this is
Get
not
the
a
update.
recent thing.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't a recent thing. This is something that was. Now, I don't think that it was deliberately hoaxed.
Staysky.
I don't think this was deliberately hoaxed. I think it was just misinterpreted.
I bet your rubles it was, yeah, it's hoaxed.
You think so? Well,
Yeah.
anyway, don't share it if you see it.
Don't share it.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever seen a story be reshared that was that old.
Ah. Well, thank
Very
you for that. It's a
weird.
good lesson in all your internet
Very
hate.
weird. Okay, I got like 2 more stories.
Okay.
Okay, so this first one, I just want to touch on because I thought it was pretty interesting, and it's also from
Just
Poland.
touching on quite a bit tonight.
I am.
What's in your mind? You got stink
it's
holes
you.
and touching and
You were the one to talk about touching people in the lectures.
yeah. Well, that's how it goes, baby.
Anyway,
I mean, we can end this right now. Our faithful listeners will understand. When you said about touching it to see if it's real, I just about did something bad. So, okay, go
Can I
ahead.
continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, so this is another story from Poland. And
Poland again.
yes, and this is something we've reported on before, where they find the burials that they believe they thought were vampires, may be vampire burials, where the skeletons are buried with rocks in their mouths or stakes,
Right.
wooden stakes,
Right.
or sickles at their throats, things like that. So I saw a story recently where they were actually excavating. They were excavating a large burial site where they had unearthed about 6 of these particular skeletons where they all had sickles at their throats, which is ingenious, by the way. If you think someone's going to rise from the dead and you put a blade there, they
It's kind of
sit up
ingenious
and
in general.
cut your throat right off.
Yeah.
Anyway, they found about 6 of those, and some of them had that, some of them had the rocks in their mouths. And one of the scientists thinks she's narrowed down why they've done this. Because
Because they were vampires?
well, that's what people think. They were afraid that they would raise as vampires, but that's not what I mean.
Okay.
I mean, the reason that they thought that they would be vampires, let me put it that way, was because I think they narrowed it down to a cholera epidemic. And they thought back then that if you were the first one to die from an epidemic, that you would come back as a vampire.
Wow.
So they did this odd burial to you. It was either that or if you were not local, which is a terrible thing to do. People aren't local just because they want to visit your town and they accidentally die. Doesn't mean they're going to be a vampire.
Yeah.
Or if
Or does it?
if you die a tragic death.
Yeah.
So, and I
I know how to get rid of a Polish vampire.
how's that?
You put it in a round room and tell it to go bite your neck in the corner.
That's corny.
That's terrible. It's very
It's
terrible.
okay. We're leaving it in.
I don't even know why people joke like that.
I don't either.
I really don't.
You could actually substitute that as a blonde joke too, can't you?
Yeah, I think you can do the blonde joke. You can do the see, and I don't know. See, that's how affected I am by race because I don't freaking know. I don't even know what's funny about it.
I don't either. But anyway, it's funnier if you use the blonde actually.
Yeah, if you use the blonde, it's funny because we all know blondes are stupid.
So anyway,
Our producer's blonde.
I like
and
that.
lovely.
he is lovely.
He is lovely.
Anyway, I like that story just because we had been talking about other stories that we talked about before, and that's something we talked about
We were
before.
talking
because
about.
they have found a lot of these burials.
Yes,
Like that
they
must have
did.
been a very common practice. So do you think there really are vampires? Do you think that's why they did this? Like they really saw vampires?
I think that it could be, like the werewolf thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think werewolf is a like demonic possession type thing. Personally.
Could be.
I don't know. I don't. After all we've seen,
Mm-hmm.
I don't particularly want to throw anything out
True.
just in case.
Just in case. It's always
in case.
just in case.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Because that one time you think it's not real.
It bites you in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
Yes. All right. So last story. This
Mm-hmm.
is kind of a science-y story, but I thought it was really cool, and I'm going to really attempt to do this. I'm not the science-y type person, really, but this is the one where they found the Star Trek-like shield that is thousands of miles above the Earth that's supposedly protecting.
Wait. Hold on a second.
The Earth.
Hold on.
Okay.
Something's not right. Like the other guy's supposed to be doing this.
What other guy?
The tech guy.
No, that was the other show.
No, the tech guy.
We don't have a tech guy.
Yeah, Tim.
No, that's
The tech guy.
that's the other show, John.
Oh, everybody that listens to us, they know that we have Tim, the tech guy, comes on and does Tech Tom.
He does the sciencey stuff. That's why
Yeah.
I'm not good at it.
Yeah, when you said Star Trek, he knows all the Klingon language,
He does. Yes, he does, and he'll talk to you in Klingon.
right? No,
But that's the other show.
but
That's
you
not
can't
this
do
show.
this story. You're boring doing this story.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's that's his. Well, I mean, you're not boring,
Okay.
but the story's kind of boring, and I want to hear a boring guy tell it.
Really?
Yeah,
Will be my guest.
get him on the phone. He's always on the phone. I promise you, he's
right.
on the phone.
If you think so, you think he's just going to know all about this just out of the blue?
Yeah, I think you will. And he's not boring.
Okay.
Tim, are you there?
I'm here, John.
See, I told you.
It's amazing.
He's always around. Now I have people, and my people made sure that Tim's. Tim, we're talking about this Star Trek shield. I know you've got to know something about it.
John, you know I'm working, right?
No, man, it's you've always. I mean, this is your segment, man. This is the Tech Talk. I mean, it's,
Tech Talk bad, man. Paranormal, man. I don't know. But after we saw the things that we have seen, I gave it up. I'm not into that anymore.
See, I told you. That was the other show.
oh yeah. So I blocked out this bad moment of.
I think that you blocked it out.
I think I blocked out the Haunted South stuff, and
I think so.
because it hurt. When I do kind of vaguely remember him finding out everything he needed to find, and so there's no way you would know anything about this story about the uber cool Star Trek shield around the Earth.
I know everything about that.
Oh,
Of course he does.
well, do you think maybe you could tell us a little bit about it?
Well, yeah, I'll try.
Well, actually, before we do that, let me just let our third side viewers know. Tim, we're having a bit of fun, and Tim is actually our longtime partner, our longtime friend, and he has he's like, I'm talking evil scientist. Make anything. Most of the stuff you see being made today on TV shows,
Yeah, he's made some version of it
Tim had made it 10 years ago.
in his lab.
Yeah, Tim made it for your mom. That's what it was. And anyway, we did a lot of you people, a lot of you folks listen to us on the Haunted South, and of course Tim Clark had Tech Talk. And we had a
It was
great.
always interesting.
Yeah, it was always interesting, and he had a huge following on the blogs, and a lot of people love the Tech Talk, including us, and such wonderful gems as Tim's Top 10.
I love Tim's top 10. Those were great.
So, Tim, it is awesome to have you on the show, and it's actually been far too long to waiting to have you pop up at some point. So, honestly, this Star Trek Type Shield, we thought about you when we saw this story, and we were like, you know what, the perfect person to have tell us a little bit about what this is would be Mr. Star Trek himself, Tim Clark. So what do you know?
Thank you. Well, we'll start at the beginning.
All right.
Around 1958, Van Allen was the guy who discovered the radiation belts outside of around the planet. And so in 2012, in August of 2012, NASA launched a couple of probes that were going to work in tandem and just look at the radiation belts in detail with today's technology and find out what's going on out there.
Right.
So, and I think what they found is the government with their pants down.
That's quite a find.
Side of things. One of these probes, the mission general scientific objectives was to understand and quantify the loss of electrons from the radiation belts. So when these probes went into space, they were looking for electrons. And lo and behold, they found a new sphere around the planet of electrons. And so when they first started studying them, it's like, well, these electrons they're going around the planet at 100,000 miles per second. And they would have expected that over time they would have interacted with the atmosphere and just gradually decayed. And that's due to the second law of thermodynamics talks about entropy, and everything moves toward disorder.
Right.
So then they found that wasn't happening here, so what's going on? So that's where I kind of pick up on the conspiracy side of things and started looking into what could possibly feed electrons in an orbit around our planet. And the first thing that popped up in my research was HAARP.
Oh.
Do you remember HAARP?
I vaguely remember
Something about
a few
that.
conversations about such things.
It's called an ionospheric heater. And
Right.
It is capable of turning the Earth's atmosphere into just such a thing.
Wow.
And then to keep on going a little bit more, they found these electrons pulsed at a low frequency. And ELF can be linked to mind-altering sensations or control.
Wow.
Wow.
That'd give you something to think about.
Yeah, or not think about.
Well, right after the story came out and I started looking up on it, the news just absolutely died. There was no chatter about it anymore. It just shut up and went away.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's mind control. They flipped a switch and people actively stopped searching for it.
That's absolutely amazing, because let me tell you something funny about this, and I'll pull back the curtain on production a little bit with this, because I think it needs to be. We originally scheduled this interview for a week ago. And we've really been wanting to get Tim on the show. We love Tim. He's basically family of ours. And realistically, he was the guy who could tell you about something of this magnitude and maybe wrap his mind around it and make some sense. But I always can point him in the right direction on this stuff. Custom-made story. So anyway, today I'm sitting here at the studio and we're doing our pre-production. Getting everything ready, sound checks and what have you, Tim. And Stacy and our producer Justin both had to ask what the actual story was again. And I mean, we had notes on this. We had production notes.
I couldn't remember for the life of me what we were supposed to do this story about. And it was just not even a whole week ago.
The only reason that it was remembered was Star Trek. because we put the trigger word in there with you.
Oh yeah,
So how cool is that, man?
that's interesting. When they mentioned Star Trek shields, first off, I kind of laughed because being a Star Trek kind of nerd that I am. The Star Trek shields, by the way, were made up of vibranium and I can't even say the word, osmium.
It's okay. We don't say a lot of words right on this show. It's just because you're on the third side, sir.
Yeah. And I hadn't heard those words in forever, and I had to look them up because I knew they were out there somewhere. So, electrons are not those elements. But anyway.
Leave it to Tim to know what actual Star Trek shields are made of.
I want to see Tim's letter to CNN. Excuse me, sirs. I'll have you know.
This wrong.
Yeah. I knew James T. Kirk, and you, sir, are no James T. Kirk. No, that's awesome, man. So that's good theories and conspiracies and stuff. I mean, it's obviously something. I mean, this is obviously something. This is not a theory of something that might be there. It's obviously something. So what do you personally believe that this is?
I personally believe it's just a layer. It's just something that we never looked for in the past, and it would be very easy to not see. But since this probe was so specific in what it was looking for, it just caught it, and it's probably just a trapped layer that gets fed from space noise and sun radiation or whatnot.
Speaking of techie stuff, while I do have you on here, I got to bring it up. I know that we're going to go more in depth in next week's show about a certain subject, but have you seen anything on the Orion rocket? On the NASA going back into space?
Oh, yes.
So, do you remember on that other show, and I don't care to say it, on Haunted South, we had a wonderful run there. Do you remember us doing a show where we had a news story talking about NASA deciding to pull out of doing space exploration?
Yes.
Don't you think that's a little weird that all of a sudden, maybe a year and a half later, that they're planning missions to Mars?
Yep, I think they need to find a place for us to go, is what I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Could be.
Or a place for the 1%ers to go.
Yeah, pretty much. Since they can't all fit under the Denver airport.
No, that's true.
We're just pulling all the conspiracies into this show.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Denver airport. Come on, what conspiracy could be there?
I don't know.
That's some of the most beautiful artwork I've ever seen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Not suspicious at all.
Yeah, not suspicious at all. Move along. Well, Mr. Clark, like I said, we've had a lot of fun with you, and I encourage people to maybe go hunt around and find some old episodes of Haunted South somehow after you've listened to all the Third Side episodes. And
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's still on iTunes.
it's still on iTunes. And most of the people, a lot of our listeners, obviously have come over from there. But I know a lot of them. I actually have people ask me about you quite often, and I just want to say, people, you can find him on Facebook. He's there.
Yep.
And if you play Facebook games, by God, you'll find him.
Yep.
Hey, don't make fun of him. I get all my lives in Candy Crush from that man right there. Thank you, Tim.
I got to do something while my test tubes are cooking.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, dude, it's been too long, and we're going to pull you and Connie, we're going to pull you guys on a ghost hunt very soon. And whether you like it or not, kicking and screaming, we're going to go on an investigation just for fun with no cameras.
There you go.
I have a place I believe we can get into now that we could not before. That would be amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that off the air, and
Yep.
then maybe there could be something hidden somewhere where we'll let you guys know. Tim, man, it's been really cool talking to you. Thank you for the information on the mind control.
Yes.
And Dude, take it easy, and thanks a lot.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, and what a great show that was.
Of course.
And I got a really a lot of information from Mr. Tim Clark,
I know.
Mr. Tech Tom
That's
Tim
so
Clark.
not where I thought that story was going.
Well, you know, sometimes that's just how it
I
happens.
mean, I thought it was just all sciencey and boring, but
I-
he made it all exciting.
That's how it works, babe.
I guess so.
Tim's a stud.
I've been away from Tim for too long.
You have.
I know.
You have. I've got people, you know. People can get people on the phone. That's just how it works. You can't hide from me.
I guess so.
Anyway, Facebook.com/ThirdSide. That's the best, easiest, sleaziest, grossest, and gruesomely groovy way to get a hold of us.
It's a lot of G's.
That's a lot of G's. That's a lot of G's.
Alliteration. It's your friend. Anyway, go ahead.
ThirdSideParanormal.com. That's the web address. Stacy's got some really halfway interesting blogs on there with a lot of pictures because she don't obviously like to write that much, and some links, and there's also, you're laughing because it's true, and there is all kinds of stuff. It's just you never know what you're going to find on that website, now do you?
You don't.
I mean, there could be...
I might put baby pictures of John on there in
Oh
the
my
gallery.
God. Wow. All right, well, ThirdSideParanormal.com. There's a one in particular baby picture she's talking about that's not going to be seen, folks. Not going to be seen.
Full frontal baby picture.
Full frontal baby picture, and I will have you arrested if you
Aw,
post
he's
that.
a cute baby. He's all chubby with his little leg rolls. Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead. Don't
Yeah.
forget about the Twitter.
Uh-huh. On Twitter, it's at 3SidePara. That's the number 3. Really.
It's just payback. It's just payback for all the times you point out things about me.
I never point out anything about you, dear.
Of course not.
I don't. Next week, we're going to have a very exciting show because it'll be our anniversary.
Yes.
So it'll be our anniversary show, but it won't be our anniversary show.
It'll be a show that we do on our wedding anniversary.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, we will. For my lovely wife, Stacy, my name's John. So long from the third side.
Good night.